What's up, everybody? Saxophone Jamal Riley here, coming at you today with another tutorial. So we're going to be covering today "Haven't Seen It Yet" by Danny Gokey. So the thing about this song is it's in the concert key of D, which puts us alto saxophone players in the saxophone key of B. Now B is not a very common key, especially for us beginners. In fact, honestly, I don't think the key of B is actually one you even learn in school. So here's my point. Before you attempt this song, it would be of great help and ease of transition if you learn your B major scale. Now, just in case you don't know, and just a refresher to those who do, the saxophone key of B has 5 sharps. So the scale is B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and B. Now remember, A sharp is in essence another name for B flat. So when you see A sharp on the screen, don't get confused. It's just B flat, okay? I'll also be covering situational fingerings when we get there, meaning because there are multiple fingers for A sharp. Okay, one more thing before we jump into this. This song, and even in this song, it's a very simple song, but the lead singer has quite a nice little range on it. And so just trying to think about how to comfortably fit his range onto the saxophone's range as best we can to make it sound good, of course. It's going to put us in the low register. So what I mean is, so for this song, our lowest common note, if you will, is going to be low C sharp. So we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your lower right pinky, and your outside left pinky. So that's going to be our common lowest note. Now, technically, there is a low B in there as well. The note below that note. Now, but we can substitute that note, and given the state of the passage, we can substitute that note for a higher B, and it'll still sound okay. But that C sharp is the lowest note, okay? So when we get to low B, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, low right pinky, and your inside. So we have those 2 notes to consider. Our highest note in this song is going to be high G sharp on top of the staff, and that's octave key, of course. 1, 2, 3, top left pinky. So that's our highest note, okay? So, but we'll cross those bridges when we get there. Let's go ahead and jump into this song. Okay, so first verse. I'm going to play it all the way through, and then we'll walk it through line by line. I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? Let's do it. Okay, so let's break that down. That's the whole entire first verse. So now let's break it down line by line. So first verse, line 1. So pretty simple, right? We got essentially 3 notes. Well, over the course of 5 tones, but 3 notes. B, C sharp, and D sharp. Now remember, D sharp, just in case it looks a little foreign, D sharp is essentially E flat, okay? But like I said, as I spelled the scale out earlier, we're going to be speaking B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, okay? So, pretty easy first line, right? Take a minute, try it out. Got it? Okay. Cool. Second line, all right? Let's do it. Second line. Okay? So we got a little more than the first line, but it's not a problem. Easy, right? Easy. Okay. Third line. the notes. Take a minute to try it out. Let's keep moving. Fourth line. Fourth line is actually the same as the first line. Easy, right? Now, fifth line. So even on the fifth line, we're still using the same notes we've been playing so far. No new notes. So we still got our G sharp, our B, C sharp, and D sharp. But just know, we know the song. Be mindful of your rhythm. It's a little pause before those last two C sharps. Okay? So, sixth line. Okay, so line 7, okay? Line 7. I'm going to play it first. Now this line is a little more difficult than the rest of the lines, but we'll get through it. I'm going to walk you through everything you don't need to know to be successful at this line, okay? Or this song for that reason. Let's go ahead and do it. Line 7. All right? So, now, this line and the next line are, well, actually that line is probably the hardest line in the entire song. If you can get this, you got the rest of it. It's a piece of cake, okay? So, our first note is that low B. Now, low B is, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, bottom right pinky. You got your spatula keys over here on your left pinky. You're going to go to the inside one on the right. When you're holding the saxophone, it'll be the one on your right. So, if you can play that note, because if you're at this tutorial, more likely you know the song, and you know we appreciate the nuances. I mean, it's so subtle, but it's nice. But my point is, if you're having difficulty playing that note, there may be several reasons you may have difficulty playing that note. Number one is your tongue position while you're playing notes matter. So especially in the low register. For me, it's like low D and below. Some people even low E. So what I recommend is everybody say aw. Say aw. Now say E. Aw, E. Aw, E. Aw, E. So what I'm demonstrating to you, what you're doing is when you say aw, your tongue is in a low position. When you say E, your tongue raises. So for low notes, for low notes, having a low tongue position creates a bigger volume of air. It doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't necessarily change the amount of air going in the saxophone, if you will, but it changes the shape of the air. And when it comes to certain notes, especially along the extremities of the saxophone, the shape of your internal aperture does matter, and especially true in the low register. So say aw, and kind of make sure you use that open cavity when you're trying to play this note. Second factor is your reed. Okay, because you can have a good reed, but if you're not applying the right breath support or the correct flow, as I previously stated, it's still not going to come out. So, but my second thing is your reed. Low notes tend to come out better with good reed. So it might be a little harder to do with a chip reed, especially considering where that chip is and how deep that chip is. So with all these things in perspective, they come into play. And lastly would be your ligature position. So if you look at my ligature, you see the top of the mouthpiece is like right here where it starts to slope. My ligature is just off of that. It comes off of that maybe, I dare say even a quarter inch if there's a measurement, adequate measurement. It's not up here. Because what you do, when you have the ligature forward, it stiffens the tip of the reed. It stiffens it. But when you move the ligature back, it maybe come down just a little bit, give it a little more room to vibrate. That's what works best for me. But that's how I achieve low B. But if you can't get the low B out, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. If we need to take that first note up an octave just for the time being, then do that. That's okay. because so that opening phrase will be. Oopsie, I messed up. Let's try it again. So that low B. See, the other challenging thing about the low B is how it's executed in this song, because you're not just hitting it and holding it. You're hitting it, you get off of it. So ba da da. So it's quick. So if you can't do that, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. It'll come in time. If you can, more power to you. So in the song, he actually sings it. So, but if you can't do that, we'll keep it at, because if you notice the second, you got LB, then you got MB. MB is the medium B, because the trust there is another high B above the staff. We're not going to touch that. So instead of going, you can simply go. So if that low B is giving you that many problems, you can just take it up octave, okay? But at the end of the phrase, we do have a low D sharp, but we do have a low C sharp, okay? So, but let's walk through the phrase now. Let's walk through the phrase. I had to tell you all that because we gotta get past the first note, okay? So, if we're doing the low B, if we're doing the low B flat, low B, I'm sorry. If we're doing the low B. So, we're going from low B to middle B. Now, you got a lot of fingers moving to do that, right? You got a lot of fingers moving. You know, it's easy to go from low B to high B versus going back down. But luckily, we're going up right now. So, if you need to practice, so going from low B, middle B, low B, middle B. So next we have that A sharp. Now I know. Now I know we were originally taught A sharp to do 1, 2, and the side key right here. That's the default A sharp, if you will. 1, 2, side key. Right hand palm, bottom palm key. That's what we were taught in school. However, the key of B is not very friendly. It's not very user friendly when it comes to this fingering or rendering of A sharp. So I actually use 2 other A sharp fingerings to play in this key. I use 1 and 5. Now I know a lot of people like to use 1 and 4, but also in this key, 1 and 4 can sometimes not necessarily be a very good option either. So I use 1 and 5. You can try it out. It's all sound the same. So I'm gonna do 1 and 2, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, and we got the other one is called. The name of it is bis B flat. So you got this. You got your how you have your left hand. You got your ring finger, your middle finger. You skip a key, first finger, and you got another key above it. So what I'm going to focus on is this guy right here. Now when you're playing A, the note A, notice that key, as you already know, that key goes down as well. Well, when we play bis B flat, you're not going to move your middle finger to touch this key. You're not going to do that. What you're going to do, you're going to rock your first finger down and cover it. You're going to rock it like that. All right, now I'm playing 1 and 5. Bis B flat. Okay, so between those 2 fingerings is the A sharp fingering that I use in this key. It depends on what I'm doing. Okay, all right. So for the very first one, I'm using 1 and 5. Or remember, now it's a little easier to go versus. Now, granted, you can do the B and the bis B flat. You can do it like that. You can do that finger right there, but it's a little more work. So, and our goal is to make it sound smooth and good. So, 1 and 5 works better in this situation. So, for that first A sharp, I'm using 1 and 5. Or if we're doing middle B flat, because we can't quite do the low B flat yet, that's fine. So 1 and 5 on that first A sharp. But the second A sharp, I'm actually doing bis B flat at that time. Why? Because when it comes to bis B flat, like I said, it depends on what I'm doing, which finger I use. And the reason I'm changing fingerings for the same note in the same phrase is because of what I'm doing. So when it comes to going from G sharp, 1, 2, 3, G sharp, and your top left pinky, when it comes to going back and forth, when it comes to trying to be smooth, you want to try to move as less fingers as possible. And keep in mind, you're doing like this with your hands. So the chances of you getting a blip in there are very likely. So what I'm doing is, by me not using 1 and 5 in that scenario, bis B flat actually works best when you're going from G sharp to A sharp. So at that point, I'm like this. It's one hand. Okay? So instead of going, I'm going. So you got G sharp, I got my third, my second, and I already got my first finger already rocked down to that bis B flat. It's not right here, it's right here. Now something else that I do, you may have noticed, somebody may have picked up on it. Originally I wasn't moving my pinky. So you can go. It's the same result. So keep in mind when it comes to in your future advancement, when it comes to getting speeding things up, being flowing smoothly with speed, less fingers you use, the quicker you can be. So that's why I'm holding G sharp down. Even as you see, it doesn't really change the note. It slightly changes the intonation for those who can hear it, but overall it doesn't change the note. And honestly, this passage is too fast for it to even matter. So we're going back. So we're going back to the top. So we got. I'm gonna do it on middle B this time. So practice those 5 notes. So we got B, 1 and 5, G sharp, bis B flat. Remember, I told you this is the hardest line in the song. If you can get this, you got the rest of the song. You got it. So don't give up on it. Don't get frustrated. Give yourself some time, okay? Okay, so we're going to get started back at the top of the line. So remember, the first A sharp, we're using 1 and 5. The second A sharp, we're using bis B flat. And actually, for the rest of this particular line, the rest of them we're going to use bis B flat, okay? So let's look at my hands. That's the first 5 notes. Okay? This time I'm going to walk it all the way through. So for the rest, because the rest, we have a lot of G sharp and a lot of A sharp in this actual phrase. So just take some time to practice it. Be patient with yourself, okay? Now the last 2 notes is a low D sharp and a low C sharp. So low D sharp is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, top right pinky. And your low C sharp is gonna be your right pinky. Your right pinky, bottom right pinky, with your outside left pinky. So going between those notes. So for people learning this song, line 7 has a lot of meat in it. But I tell you what, when you get a good handle on this line right here, you'll be that much better in the key of B. So next time we do another song in B, you'll be that much better, that much more prepared to be successful. Okay? So I'm going to play the whole line up close. Now something else I do, remember how I told you when it comes to my G sharp to my A sharp, how I don't move my pinky? Another scenario, going from C sharp and D sharp, or D sharp and C sharp. What you can do, you can already have that left pinky down. So I want you to focus. I'm going to play this phrase again. When I get towards the end, pay attention to my left pinky. Now notice I'm cycling between those two notes and my left pinky is not moving. It's the same thing. So take some time, work that out, okay? Work that out. If you got it, awesome. Let's keep it moving, because y'all, we're still in the first verse. But as I did say, this is the hardest part of the song. This is the hardest part of the song. Let's do it. So I'm going to play the whole line one more time, and we're going to move on to line 8, okay? Or if you can't quite get that low B out, at least in the context of this song, because it's quick. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da. If you can't quite hit it like that and come off of it, that's fine. Let's just do middle B flat, okay? I mean middle B, I mean. So work that out. Let's move to line 8. And see, us working line 7, line 8 is actually easier. Line 8, here we go. I'm going to just play it first, then we're going to break it down. So it's essentially the same phrase, but the last two notes are different. Last time we went down to low D sharp, low C sharp. This time we're coming up to middle C sharp and middle B. Because if you can already play line 7, you can play line 8. It's just two different notes at the end. Easy, easy, right? Or middle B, or if you want to do for middle B. That's the first verse, guys. That's the first verse. Take some time, work down all the lines, put it all together. Matter of fact, I'll play it one more time. Line 1 through 8 of the first verse. Got it. Okay, so now let's jump into the chorus. I'm going to play it the whole way through. We're going to go back and break it down. Now the chorus is much easier than that first verse, okay? Let's do it. Okay, so that's the chorus. That's the chorus. Now let's go line by line now. Line 1 of the chorus. We got his B's or G sharp. Take a little time to work it out. Easy, easy. Second line. Okay, so we got our B's, we got our C sharp. Now, we got our A sharps at the end of this second line, right? We need to do 1 and 5 there. 1 and 5. Because we're coming off a D sharp. Remember, speed, smooth. So we're coming off a D sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Top right pinky. So it's easy to go right here. Because we're bringing fingers up, right? So when you come off that D sharp, make sure you keep your middle right finger down, okay? easy, right? Easy, easy, right? So we got that worked out. Line 3. Take a little second. Okay, line 4. Easy, easy. B, C sharp, D sharp, B. We ended on the C sharp. So, next line. So, right here we're on a high F sharp. So, of course, we know this key. F sharp is 1, 3, 5. Easy, easy, right? So, next line is actually the same. He says the same thing twice. So, line 7. He repeats the same small phrases twice. Da 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 da. Maybe you haven't seen it. And so that's the ending line. He does it twice. So we get this under our belt first. I'll teach you his old part later. And then for his last tag, so he goes da 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 da, and the last one's a half phrase. Da 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 da. All right, so let's jump into the second verse. Now remember, as I said before, the second verse is actually a lot easier than the first verse. And as I said before, if you can make it to that first verse, you got the rest of the song. As long as you're not playing the key of B. Okay, so, but at this point, we should be on easy street, okay? Second verse. I'm going to play it all the way through. We'll come back and break it down. Second verse is also not quite as long as the first verse, too. Here we go. That's the second verse. Let's take it line by line now. So we're starting right on a low F sharp. I might have had too many F sharps in that one. There we go. I did too many the first time. But you know the song, it's all good. Easy, easy, right? Second line. So we got that, we end that second line on the A sharp. So the A sharp need to be 1 and 5, okay? Remember, bass B flat is preferred when you're going from A sharp and G sharp. When you to keep you from doing this or keep you from doing this, you know, so that's when you want to use bass B flat, okay? But other than that, in the key of B, at least my preference is, I mean, it's no rule to it, if you will, hard set rule. But at least in my experience, it's best if you use 1 and 5 in the key of B flat. I mean, in the key of B, in our key of B. So remember, second line, end on 1 and 5. Third line. Fourth line. Fifth line. Now, that line is the hardest line in the second verse. So what I'm doing there, because when he sings it, he's on that on U. He has multiple notes that he's singing on that U. You. Forgive me, I'm not a singer, you know, but you get the point. So what we're doing here, we're playing. We start on C sharp. What we're going to use, you see that PD? PD means palm D. Now, technically, that fingering is for, as you probably already know, is for a high D. But this key doesn't have that note in the song or even in the key. But it's an embellishment. It is, he's adding color to the song or, to the melody. So what we do, because it's a lot easier, instead of doing, so remember, we're talking about speed, right? Try to go C sharp, D, C sharp, B. So it's very quick and subtle. And so we wouldn't want to put that accidental or that grace note, that's what I'm looking for. We don't want to put that grace note with all those fingers down. We don't have to, because it's going to slow us down. So you hear how that is. So in this scenario, we need a grace note D. So we're going to use palm D. No octave key. You're going to use your right inside palm. So, yes, we can play D like that. Or hold it. I would not recommend it because intonation is not that great on it, okay? So, so you just hit it and get off of it. So now I'm going to put it in the phrase. Hear that again? I'm going to do it one time. Easy, easy. So take some time to play with that. Get that under your fingers. Okay? Alright, so we've already done the first verse, the chorus, second verse. We already know the chorus, so it's already done. So now let's jump into the vamp. Okay? I'm going to play it. You know how we do this. Let's do it. Okay, so that's the vamp. Let's walk it through. First line. Despite all the notes you play, you really don't play that many. You really don't play that many letter notes, if you will. It's only made of 5. Yep, you got low F sharp, D sharp, C sharp, B, and G sharp. So second line. Easy, easy, right? Take some time, play through it. All right, third line. Fourth line. So, just in case that F sharp to that D sharp trips you up, take your time with it. Next line opens with an F sharp and D sharp again. So now I'm going to play it all the way through. So it's the same as the previous line, but it just ends on a higher note, okay? So next line. So I know it sounds like a lot is going on right there, but not really. Let's slow it down. So only I'm playing it in is B, C sharp, D sharp, D sharp. Now you can get away with just playing 2 notes. We're gonna just end on B, D sharp, or we're gonna do B, C sharp, D sharp, D sharp. That's why I got the C sharp and D sharp in parentheses. They're optional, but that's what gives him the, I guess, the essence of what he's actually saying. Okay, you can do it either way. Okay, so next line. It's kind of like another one of our previous lines, except you got da-dum at the end. Easy, easy, right? So the last line. Now the chorus actually says we can't see it, but we believe that. Now, while they're doing that, he's doing what we call a melisma. He's singing one syllable over different pitches. Now that melisma goes like this. Now you can do either one. You can either do what they're singing, if it feels better for you, or you can do what he's doing. So what that is I know. I mean, honestly, when you first listen to it, you think it's more to it, but it's not really. It's not really a whole lot to that. Okay. So now we're gonna get into the third chorus. Now the third chorus. Now we already played the chorus twice, but the third chorus is a little bit different in its opening. So at this point, we're feeling the song. We're ready to drive it home, and obviously Danny's feeling the song too because he's cranking it up. So normally the chorus open line is. So this time he opens with. So we're starting on our high F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 5, and your octave here, of course. And now we got our highest note in the song, which is that G sharp. On top of the staff. So take some time to work that out. Okay. So the next line, it still starts off a little different. So instead of going, so it went. I forget my blip. But remember that second line of that chorus. Remember the end on 1 and 5 for that A sharp. All right. So we got the song, y'all. We got the song. So that really wraps up this song, guys. You got it. If you have any questions for me, please, any questions for me about this song, please comment below and I'll get back to you. However, if you have requests for tutorials, future tutorials, please email me at saxjriley, SAXJRILEY @gmail.com. That's saxjriley@gmail.com. Please send all your requests there, and I'll get back to you and see what we can make happen for you. Okay. I look forward to working with you all, and I hope this video helps somebody, and I look forward to helping more people in the future. Peace.